Hey there, Brett with Quarter Properties, and today I just wanted to hop on here and chat with you about how much money you're going to need to have available to actually close on your home. Right now, we've got a lot of buying, contracting, and closing going on, and it's always a common question, like how much money am I going to need to have available to actually get the keys. So first, we'll just talk about a cash purchase because that's the simpler one with lower costs. Typically, you're going to have your attorney fees. In South Carolina, all of our real estate transactions are handled by an attorney. A closing attorney will do your title work. They'll write a title insurance policy. They'll balance your settlement statement. And those attorney fees are usually going to run about $1,500 to $2,000 for your closing. Then you could also have, if you're buying in an HOA community, they could want a couple of months up front of the HOA fees. So you might have a prepaid there, or there's typically what's called an HOA transfer fee. That's when the HOA it checks their balances, make sure that the current seller is up to date on their fees, and they're allowing the transfer of the property from that seller to you. Typically, those fees can be, $150, $250, just to write up what's called a COA, Certificate of Assessment. Then you could also have an HOA capital contribution fee. So if you're a cash buyer and you're buying in a brand new community, there's often going to be a capital contribution fee, and that's where in the new communities they are trying to build up their reserve funds, so they need money to go into that HOA. So the new buyers are going to buy into that, pay into that, and that's typically going to be anywhere from say $750 to $2,500, just depending on the community and how nice the amenities are. So there could be that kind of HOA capital contribution fee. And then you're also going to have your homeowner's insurance. If you choose to have it, which cash purchase, you're not going to be forced to, but still highly recommend it. But that would be paid. You'd pay that first premium outside of closing, but just keep that in the back of your mind. So those are pretty much the fees if you're going to be doing a cash purchase. So anywhere from say $1,500 to $2,500, just depending on the scenario. Might be a little bit more if there's a larger HOA capital contribution fee. Okay, so now let's talk about the majority of closings, which is going to be if you're taking out a loan on the property. So if you're taking out a loan, you're still going to have your attorney fees. Okay, $1,500 to say $2,000 for attorney fees. You're still going to have those potential, an HOA transfer fee, HOA capital contribution fee if it's that kind of community. So again, that could be anywhere from say $150 for just a COA, Certificate of Assessment, or it could be $1,500 to $2,500 depending on the community and what type of capital contribution fee they may have. Okay, you're also going to have an appraisal with the loan, and those are usually around $650. Many times you pay for that up front prior to going to the closing table, but just keep that in mind. There'll be an appraisal. But then for your loan, they're also going to escrow some property taxes and some potentially your insurance payments, a few months of those up front. Okay, so it just depends on the property type you're buying, whether you're a primary resident, the insurance rates for that type of property. But you're typically going to have a few months of that collected in advance, so that way they get that escrowed, and it's that way they can hopefully keep you ahead of the game with respect to your homeowner's insurance and your property taxes. Now, the biggest cost when you're taking out a loan are obviously going to be your loan costs, your origination fee, any kind of prepaid interest, admin fees. And depending on the type of loan, it could run anywhere from say $6,000 in loan costs to your lender to say $12,000 or more, in just loan costs to your lender. Now, kind of the rule of thumb is the lower the amount you're putting down, so say 0% down with USDA and VA loans, the higher your loan costs are going to be, your closing cost on that loan. Okay, so if you're taking out, USDA VA, FHA, those loan costs are going to be higher than, say, a conventional loan where you're taking out or you're taking out, say, an 80 to 90% loan, putting 10 to 20% down or higher. Those loan costs are going to be on the lower end. Okay. At the end of the day, the average closing cost when you're taking out a loan are going to be somewhere between 4 to 6%. So let's say we split that 5% on a $300,000 home. So you're talking about $15,000 in closing costs on that home. Now, the good news is the seller can contribute to that. So it depends on the loan type, but they can contribute, say, up to 6% on FHA loans. So what you can always do is offer a seller, let's say the house is listed at $300,000. You can come in with a full price offer of, say, $300,000. But hey, I need up to 6% paid towards my closing costs. So the seller can contribute towards your closing cost if they're willing to. So that helps there. Now, the area where the seller cannot contribute is your down payment. Okay, so on obviously USDA and VA loans, whatnot, there's 0% down payment. No issues there. FHA loan, 3.5%. Conventional loan, say 10 to 20% and higher. The seller cannot contribute to those. Now, you can have that money gifted to you by, say, a relative, as long as there's a letter that accommodates that says that that's not debt, that's a gift that does not have to be repaid. But then there's also some nice first-time homebuyer programs that can contribute towards your down payment. So at the end of the day, though, if you're taking out a loan, say 4 to 6% is going to be the average. If you're paying cash, say $1,500 to $2,500, just depends on, potential capital contribution fees. So obviously there's a lot going on with this. If you're thinking about buying in the future and you want a little bit of help understanding, what it's going to look like, how much money you might need to bring to the table to actually close and get yourself a home. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you out with that. If you want, just, hit me up in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. If you want to shoot me a message on Facebook, or you can email me at brett@corderproperties.com if you have any questions on how much money you'll need to close on your new home. Talk to you soon.